One Arabian fairy and 1,000 tales. Hello, my friends. I am Marwa, your storyteller, basket weaver, oriental dancer, painter, Arabic calligrapher, herbalist. In our world, no one is just one thing. I would like to start by thanking all my new amazing subscribers. Your support is truly motivating me to share more of my stories. This episode is full of colors, a story about painting. I thought I'd begin with showing you my painting corner, a small personal space I've crafted for my creative and spiritual needs. It's where I can be alone, a place that feels safe and nurturing. Having such a sanctuary might seem simple in this vast existence, but the moment you create it, you discover its power. It becomes a place for transformation, a reminder of your own superpowers. And for that, I am deeply grateful. In a world where private space for women has historically and often still is rare, carving out a corner for creation and peace of mind is an act of quiet rebellion. This corner is more than just a physical space. It's a declaration of the freedom to create, reflect, and simply exist without interruptions. I'll be sharing with you today some of my sketchbooks, paintings, and perhaps even a few sculptures. And our plant companion for this story is one of my favorites, the plumeria tree, with her beautifully fragrant flowers that never fail to awaken my imagination. I've always believed that creativity isn't reserved for artists. It belongs to everyone. Yet in our culture, the idea of art as a viable path for the future is often met with resistance. There is this fear that choosing art means stepping into uncertainty. People love the idea of having an artist in the family until it becomes real. Then a question lingers in the air. Can art truly sustain you? I often heard that art is reserved for the elite, as though creativity doesn't belong to the hands of everyday people. During my years as a student, I balanced work and studies. And I held on to the belief that art is simply a reflection of our humanity, a story we all have the right to tell, a force capable of driving change. For a long time, I pursued things I was told I should want, only to deny my true longing for a life filled with paint and brushes. Sometimes we are drawn to people or places because they represent an unmet dream within us. And when we finally find it, it feels like coming home to ourselves. I see a brush as a magic wand. When I paint, I create the version of myself I aspire to be. I become what I create, and then I continue painting who I am. A cycle of becoming and being. This movement is sacred to me. I draw what I wish to see, and it takes shape before my eyes. It's like photosynthesis, turning light into energy, transforming the intangible into something alive and tangible. The challenges of being an artist are countless, from finding your voice to sharing pieces of your soul, all while navigating society's expectations. There's the balancing act of making a living from your art if you're lucky, without compromising your values. It's a path that requires immense courage, but it's also one filled with beauty and profound healing. But what does it feel like when the brush sits untouched? Creativity moves like seasons, sometimes abundant, other times absent. Perhaps it's a calling to receive, to feed the soul, to listen, to read, to walk with the rhythm of nature. Sometimes distractions weave themselves into our days, pulling us away. They aren't enemies, but interruptions. And yet, even in our hardest times, art finds us. It asks us to pour our energy, our grief, and our joy into its form, transforming what hinders us into something wholly new. Vulnerability, after all, is a source of strength. In a land where so much beauty and history goes unarchived, my work is a reclamation of the visual arts of the Eastern Mediterranean area. I blend traditional crafts with contemporary practices, creating art that reflects the richness of our culture and its enduring spirit. Art has the power to honor the land, weaving together history, soil, and stories. It becomes a way to resist colonial influences, especially the immoral Zionist project, forces that have for so long tried to erase our identity, but we all know they are bound to fail. Through my work, I strive to depict the unique artistic language of our region, a language that reflects who we are and where we come from. This connection grounds my art, bridging traditional craft with environmental consciousness and honoring both our roots and the stories yet to unfold. In art school, the curriculum was heavily rooted in the Western traditions. Though I admired many of those great artists, something felt missing. It was only later that I discovered my true passion for traditional art forms that felt culturally closer to me. In our region, motifs, whether botanical or geometric, are part of the alphabet of our artistic expression. These patterns, often seen in Tadhib art, carry a meditative quality. Working on these delicate forms with the smallest brush feels like a ritual. Repeating shapes, layering petals, or tracing the symmetry of a geometric design allows me to lose myself, like a meditation in motion. It's storytelling through details, connecting the smallest parts to the whole, in every line a prayer. Growing up, I would flip through my father's sketchbook. Those pages planted the first seeds of my love for art. Nonetheless, my admiration for miniature painting comes from my mother. While she worked on her master's degree studying a medieval manuscript, I would lose myself in the illustrations. These intricate images, some of the earliest forms of comic art in Baghdad, captivated me. They told stories with such vibrancy, and I felt an instant connection to their style. I make paint with soil, mixing it with gum arabic and honey, and this practice has deepened my connection to the land and my art. I explored other sources of pigments as well. This year, I took a deeply personal step by painting with my own menstrual blood. Such a transformative act that connected me to my body and femininity. I cherished this deep crimson color, watching it dry into earthy tones. This process broke down the distance I once felt with my body, making me feel more comfortable in my own skin. When I share my paintings, it's as though I'm opening a door to my world, inviting others in. Every piece of art I create feels like it happens in layers. Layers of thought, feeling, memory, and truth. It's difficult to quantify this process, or the hours spent, because in many ways, time itself feels like the true artist. I am simply the channel offering my truth to paper. Painting has taught me that art isn't just something we create. It's a language we use to reclaim who we are and communicate our findings to others. I'll leave you with one of my biggest challenges as a painter. A replica of a mural depicting Shiva and Shakti's dance that I spent over 2 years creating in my rented apartment in Beirut during 2018 and 19. I took my time with it, often taking long pauses where I'd step away only to return, and sometimes inspired by dancing in the same room. When I moved into the mountains, I had to leave that mural behind. It was the first time I felt I was releasing a significant piece of myself to the world, something I couldn't take with me. Art is not meant to be possessed, you know. It is meant to exist, to breathe, to belong to a time and place beyond us. It feels like I left a piece of me in Beirut, woven into the city's story. Until next time, so much love to all.